In one of the most sacred places on earth, two of the most talked about leaders unexpectedly came face to face. No press. No announcement. Just a moment. A silent handshake between Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky, caught on camera inside the Vatican, stunned the world. But what did it really mean? On a quiet morning in Vatican City, beneath the ancient domes and sacred silence of St. Peter's Basilica, something unexpected happened. Two world leaders, both powerful, both controversial, found themselves in the same place, at the same moment, with the whole world watching, without even knowing it yet. Former U.S. President Donald J. Trump, on a private visit to Rome during a spiritual retreat, had made a quiet stop at the Vatican. Just a few meters away, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had also arrived, attending an interfaith ceremony calling for global peace and spiritual unity. There was no scheduled meeting. No media invitation. No press conference. No handshake planned. And yet, in a time when diplomacy is scripted and every move is managed by teams of advisors, this encounter was entirely human. As cameras rolled quietly and the choir sang in Latin behind them, the two leaders locked eyes. There was a pause. A flicker of hesitation. And then, they stepped forward. A handshake. Silent, firm, deliberate. A single moment. But one that sent shockwaves across the world. Images spread across social media within minutes. Trump in his dark suit, hand extended. Zelensky, in his usual military green, meeting that hand with a calm expression. The image felt surreal. Almost cinematic. Inside one of the holiest places on earth, two men, linked by conflict, scandal, and politics, stood face to face without a word. No microphones. No statements. No spin. Just a gesture that carried meaning far beyond diplomacy. In an era where division dominates headlines, and war still rages across Ukraine's landscape, the symbolism of this meeting was deafening. Some saw it as a staged moment. Others called it a miracle. But one thing is certain. That silent handshake, in the shadows of the Vatican, is now etched into the timeline of world history. The moment it happened, only a handful of people witnessed it live. A small room inside the Vatican. No flashing lights. No press briefing. No breaking news alert. Just a handshake. Quiet. Deliberate. But within minutes. The image was online. And within hours, it was everywhere. Headlines exploded across global media. Trump meets Zelensky at the Vatican. Historic handshake stirs hope and controversy. Symbol of peace. Or political theater. On social media, the reactions were instant and intense. Some praised the moment as a sign of diplomacy. Others accused both leaders of staging it for attention. Memes, analysis, think pieces, debates, it flooded every corner of the internet. But why did this moment strike such a nerve? Why did something so small feel so enormous? Timing, for one. The war in Ukraine had just reached another brutal chapter. Russian missiles rained down on key cities. Western allies were debating how much more they could support Ukraine. And as fatigue set in around the globe, people were desperate for a new narrative, any sign that the chaos might one day end. Then came this moment. A pause. A handshake. A signal. Second, the place. The Vatican isn't just a religious symbol. It's neutral ground. A place where enemies have historically come to talk, not fight. So for two figures tied, directly or indirectly, to one of the biggest military conflicts of the decade to meet there, was no small thing. It added gravity. Sacredness. Almost cinematic drama. Third, the contradiction. Trump and Zelensky. Two opposites. One accused of withholding aid to pressure the other. One seen as the face of resistance. And yet here they were, no podiums, no press, just, meeting. The contrast in appearance was visual poetry. Trump, in a sharply tailored suit, known for commanding attention. Zelensky, in olive drab, the ever-serious wartime president. One man representing past disruption. The other, present crisis. Fourth, the silence. Not a single word was spoken publicly between them. And yet, the silence screamed. It left everything open to interpretation. Was it respect? Was it strategy? Was it purely coincidence? Or was it all of the above? Fifth, emotion. At its core, this wasn't about politics or alliances. It was about humanity. The visual of two men, both heavily scrutinized, both carrying the weight of nations, sharing a brief, human moment. For some, it brought hope. For others, discomfort. But for everyone, it made them feel. And that is rare in modern politics. Some say it was calculated. Others believe it was divine timing. Either way, it became something no advisor, no strategist, no media campaign could replicate. An unscripted symbol. Whether you loved it, doubted it, or ignored it. It happened. And it forced the world to pause, even if just for a few seconds. And maybe, in a world overflowing with noise, that brief stillness was exactly what we needed. Moments like these rarely happen without meaning. Especially not in the age of hypermanaged optics and 24/7 media. Which begs the question. Was this handshake just a coincidence? Or was it, crafted? Let's break it down. For Donald Trump, the timing couldn't have been more strategic. As he continues his 2024 presidential campaign, Trump is fighting battles on multiple fronts, legal, political, and reputational. A global image of him at the Vatican, extending a hand in peace, projects a stark contrast to the courtroom headlines back home. It reframes him, not as a disruptor, but as a man of diplomacy, of global relevance. The optics are golden, calm, spiritual, presidential. But this wasn't just about him. For Zelensky, the image sends a different kind of message. As Ukraine's war effort begins to test the patience of Western allies, Zelensky is under pressure to show that he can connect, communicate, and stay visible on the world stage, even with controversial figures. Appearing open, even civil, with a man who once threatened his presidency, is a masterstroke in diplomatic flexibility. And then, there's the Vatican. A place that rarely allows unscripted political moments. Yet here it stood, once again, as a silent witness to history. Could the Church be nudging global figures toward reconciliation? Or simply offering neutral ground for symbolism to unfold? Whatever the case, this moment worked. Because it wasn't what we're used to. It wasn't staged in front of flags. There were no podiums. No joint statements. No spin. Just silence. And in that silence, each audience heard what they wanted to hear. Trump supporters saw strength and diplomacy. Zelensky supporters saw confidence and leadership. Critics on both sides saw opportunism. And some saw possibility. Because, in politics, optics are everything. And in 2024, a single photo can be as powerful as a treaty. A handshake in the Vatican is more than just a handshake. It's a test balloon. It's a shift in narrative. It's a trial run for how two powerful men might redefine their roles on the global chessboard. And maybe, just maybe, it's a signal that even in a divided, chaotic world, dialogue is still possible. As the photo of Trump and Zelensky's handshake swept across the globe, so did the reactions, emotional, analytical, cynical, and deeply divided. It wasn't just a moment anymore. It had become a message. World leaders weighed in. Some praised the spirit of diplomacy. Others warned of false optics or opportunistic theater. The EU offered no official comment, yet whispers in Brussels spoke of concern over the message this might send about NATO unity. In Washington, the reaction was split across party lines. Republicans hailed Trump's presence on the global stage as evidence of his continued influence. Democrats were more skeptical, pointing to the past, impeachment, pressure campaigns, and the complex history between the two men. In Kiev, reactions were even more mixed. Some saw Zelensky's openness as strength. Others worried it might signal weakness, or confusion about Ukraine's alignment. For a nation at war, perception matters as much as policy. Meanwhile, the internet lit up. Twitter/X, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all flooded with edits, memes, side-by-side comparisons. Some users framed the image as the handshake that could end a war. Others sarcastically captioned it, "The Emmy for Best Political Performance goes to." One viral post showed the handshake morphing into a movie poster, Vatican Summit, coming soon. Analysts, both serious and satirical, joined the chorus. Is this the beginning of back-channel diplomacy? Was it a political ambush? Is this the softening of Trump's foreign policy narrative? The truth, of course, depends on perspective. What's certain is this. In less than 48 hours, one unscripted moment created more conversation than most summits do in weeks. And perhaps that's the real power of it. In a world exhausted by formality, ceremony, and empty promises, a single silent gesture, captured in a single sacred place, became louder than any speech. The reaction didn't just reflect what happened. It reflected what the world wanted to happen. Hope. Peace. Maybe even reconciliation. Whether genuine or performative. The image offered a glimpse of something rare. Humanity at the heart of power. History is not always written in grand speeches or monumental battles. Sometimes, it's written in silence. In gestures. In seconds. And sometimes, in a single photograph. The handshake between Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky may not end wars. It may not change policy overnight. But it did something rare. It made the world pause. In that brief moment, nations stopped scrolling. Analysts stopped shouting. And even cynics, just for a second, wondered. What if this means something more? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just an image. Another viral wave in a noisy world. But maybe it's a sign that despite politics, despite conflict, humanity still breaks through. What happens next? That's not up to them alone. It's up to all of us. Because in a divided world, hope doesn't start in meetings. It starts in how we see each other. So we ask you. What do you see in this handshake? Let us know in the comments. And if you believe dialogue still matters, share this story. Let the image speak, one more time.